general site setup for the kitchen dining site on Oregon. There's quite a few different configurations on this site. I'm going to try to go over a few of them, and I'll make note of where the differences are between different setups. So the most important part of this site is the showers. This place is kind of a fortress. There's plenty of room to put my discs, ADSs, mute jammers, any utility you normally use to help your defenders stay entrenched, maestro cans, echo drones, and there's not very many places they can actually attack from. So generally if you're doing more of a solo queue setup, you'll reinforce this wall, and you'll just play where, hey, you could threaten jumping over, you could threaten just peeking, there's a lot of different things you can do. And the rotation hole generally goes from this part of the site into here, just because you're not entirely sure if people are going to be able to control this area over here. Now, for the more team-oriented setup, or I guess another step you could do is, people don't reinforce this wall at all, and they actually make a rotation hole into the hallway here, the corridor here, and they play with a shield on this ping, facing the same direction. Now what this gives you is it gives you a bit more of a view of the site, and also this kind of implies that you're going to have at least one Jaeger, at least someone wise, something to help protect your shield so they don't just nade you. This is a pretty powerful angle here because you can see all the way into here, and you really don't have to worry about getting shot from the window. A lot of times I will castle this window, or I'll ask for a castle to castle the window, or I'll even barricade this if I'm playing in here with the first setup, just so I'm not easily flanked. Now, moving more towards the more team-oriented setup, if you're going to be running the castle like I am in this case, I like to castle this, just to give them less options, to make them have to cross in front of my crosshair. Like they don't have the choice of flanking me around here if they're coming from small tower. I also like to castle this, so once again, it really limits the flanking options. Like, great, you can jump in this window, and that's it. That's really the only way you can actually get me out of here, which is really nice. Simplifies the hold a lot. But again, if you don't have the castle, doing more of a solo queue strat, I would even reinforce this wall so you don't get shot from behind. And one person can hold this for quite a long time. So, showers is a fortress, put a lot of utility into it, and you're going to have a good time. The main wall here, I like to reinforce. If you're playing Mira, you can even play a Mira on this wall. A Mira plus someone in showers makes this an incredibly hard site to take from small tower. One of the reasons why this site is kind of underrated. You are vulnerable from above here, so when you put the Mira down, just know that you're gonna have to give it up pretty early if they know what they're doing. But if they don't know what they're doing, it's pretty free. Next thing you want to do usually is make some holes here, just so you can contest people when they get on the hatch. You can also help your kitchen player. Now, there's a lot of different ways to set up this security area, the CC area as well. A lot of people like to just put a mute or a smoke in here, maybe put a shield somewhere in here. Again, a bunch of utility to make it hard for the enemy team to dig players out of here. Even if I have the castle set up here, I still like to have someone play in here. The castle setup also helps them, because they know, hey, I only have to worry about people from in this direction, basement, and from here. Which seems like a lot, but if you're just sitting in here, playing sound, playing intel, you can very easily peek this, and you can very easily peek over here and kind of isolate 1v1s. Now, if you're playing solo queue, I would just reinforce this. I wouldn't even bother with it. Your anchors are not going to be communicating with each other, they're not going to be communicating with roamers. It's not worth it. If you're not going to have a player actively playing the security area, just reinforce it. You can even actually leave the rotation hole there and have one of your anchors fall back and reinforce it, or just reinforce it off mid-round if they're not comfortable, or if that player runs off and dies. I personally like to castle this when I bring the castle. You don't have to bring it, but this is a common area for people to enter. People will either enter through, if they're attacking the kitchen side, they'll enter through here, or they'll try to breach this wall here. That's about it in terms of basics. there's tons of other stuff you can castle. Like, for example, you can have it where you castle this. You really don't hold anyone on this side of the map other than the Showers player using multi-utility, and you basically just let them work. A little bit more risky, because if your player here dies, they're in a lot of trouble. But, I mean, it's pretty hard to get players out of here. And even if you do die, a lot of times you can rotate one of your anchors from kitchen in here pretty safely, especially if you have this castle barrier here. With this castle barrier here, the players in kitchen are way safer from some late round hits or any confusion that might ensue if a player was to go, if your Showers anchor was to go down. So that's about all I got.